What if I told you Italy's greatest survival secrets aren't locked in bunkers, but in kitchens? For centuries, Italians have stocked foods that seem to laugh in the face of time. Flavors sealed in glass, sun, and salt. Each jar, bottle, or sack tells a story of famine, war, and love. Of grandmothers who knew how to make food last longer than empires. From oils that never go rancid to pasta that defies the years, these timeless staples built a cuisine and a culture that endures. Today we open the pantry of history and uncover 20 foods Italians stockpile that never expire. But first, let's begin with one ingredient that shaped Italy itself. A single grain of wheat, golden, ancient pasta, is ingrained deeply embedded in Italian culture. Yet who could have guessed this humble seed would become one of humanity's most enduring inventions? In Italy, it transformed survival into art. Picture a coastal village centuries ago, women stretching dough across wooden tables, men hanging the long ribbons of spaghetti from beams, the air thick with the scent of flour and sea breeze. Dried pasta was born not from luxury, but necessity. When fresh food was scarce, Italians needed something light, portable, and immortal. The secret? Simplicity. Just flour and water, shaped, then slowly dried until every trace of moisture vanished. No water, no decay. What remained was pure sustenance, a golden promise that could outlast famine, war, even time itself. For centuries, sailors carried it across oceans, soldiers tucked it into packs, and families stored it high in pantries as an edible insurance policy. Yet today, it's far more than survival food. It's Italy's heartbeat, the foundation of comfort, celebration, and memory. Each strand holds history, each bowl a taste of resilience. But pasta is only the beginning. Next, we open a tin of sunlight, the crimson treasure that preserves Italy's. Crack open a tin, and you release summer itself, the warmth of Italian sun condensed into crimson gold. It's hard to believe this humble can once transformed how Italy survived winter. The story begins in the 18th century, when a French chef discovered that sealing cooked tomatoes in airtight jars preserved their flavor for months. Italians, ever the masters of food and patience, took this idea and turned it into an art form. In the fields of Campania and Puglia, farmers handpicked ripe San Marzano tomatoes, sweet, tender, and bursting with life. They were peeled, simmered, and sealed before the season ended, locking in the taste of August for the long, hungry months ahead. The secret is in the acid, nature's own preservative, and the airtight embrace of tin and glass that keeps oxygen away. To this day, Italian families stockpile them like treasure. From the simplest pasta sauce to the richest ragu, canned tomatoes are the heartbeat of the Mediterranean pantry, a promise that no winter will ever steal summer's flavor again. But from the sun-drenched tomato fields, our story now turns to the olive groves and a liquid gold that never dies. Leaves of ancient trees, golden liquid drips from stone presses. Slow, viscous, eternal. Extra virgin olive oil isn't just food in Italy, it's sacred. The earliest traces date back thousands of years, when Roman soldiers carried flasks of it not only for cooking, but for healing, trade, and light. In every sense, it was survival distilled. Its immortality lies in purity. True olive oil is cold-pressed, never cooked or refined, a process that keeps its natural antioxidants alive. These guardians fight time itself, slowing the march of rancidity and decay. Stored in dark glass, away from heat and light, it can last years without losing its soul. For Italians, olive oil isn't merely an ingredient, it's a ritual, drizzled over bread, whispered into soups, offered as a blessing over every meal. Even today, families treat it like gold, buying it by the tin, storing it in cool cellars, tasting it like wine. But where olive oil flows, vinegar soon follows. And the next treasure, dark, sweet, and mysterious, is one that only deepens with age. In the attics of Modena, barrels breathe. Inside them, time transforms grape must into something nearly magical. Balsamic vinegar. The process is ancient, almost secretive, and it begins not with grapes for wine, but with grapes for patience. Centuries ago, Italian families discovered that when cooked grape juice was left to age in wooden casks, oak, chestnut, cherry, it didn't spoil. It evolved, evaporation thickened it, Wood enriched it, and years gifted it complexity. What emerged was liquid velvet, sweet, tart, and eternal. No artificial preservative, no trick of science, just nature, wood, and time. Balsamic vinegar was once so precious it was given as dowry, a sign of love and legacy. Today, a few drops can elevate any dish, drizzled over strawberries, steaks, or cheese, connecting the modern table to centuries past. Each dark ribbon carries whispers of orchards, wood smoke, and waiting. But not all Italian treasures are liquid. Some are small, humble, and dry, beans that once saved villages from hunger. And that's where our journey can. They rattle softly in clay jars. Tiny relics of survival that once fed empires. Dried beans may look humble, but in Italy they've been known as la carne dei poveri, the poor man's meat. When famine or war emptied markets, these small seeds became lifelines. In Tuscany, families soaked cannellini overnight by candlelight, and in the mountains, farmers simmered borlotti into thick, smoky soups that could sustain a village. Their secret lies in stillness. Once dried, beans shed nearly all their moisture, sealing themselves in a kind of suspended animation. Time can pass, years, even decades, and they wait, patient and unchanged, until water brings them back to life. Beyond nourishment, dried beans carry a message: resilience through simplicity. They connect the modern kitchen to generations who learn to thrive on little but flavor and faith. Today, Italians still keep them in glass jars, a quiet nod to the past. From the humble earth, our story now drifts to the misty rice fields of the north, where another ancient grain shines with the promise of endurance. In the misty paddies of northern Italy, where the Po River winds through Lombardy, water mirrors the sky. Here, centuries ago, farmers began cultivating something extraordinary: grains of rice that would forever change Italian cuisine. It wasn't pasta, but it fed the same soul. Rice arrived in Italy through Arab traders during the Middle Ages, thriving in the damp plains where wheat could not. Its preservation secret is its purity. Each grain, stripped of husk and dried, holds almost no moisture, a tiny capsule of energy that can last indefinitely if kept cool and sealed. No rot, no spoilage, just infinite potential waiting for heat and broth. From famine to feast, rice became the cornerstone of dishes like creamy risotto, transforming hardship into luxury. Even now, every Italian pantry holds a bag, a quiet promise that a meal can always be made, no matter what. As steam rises from the pot, our journey turns to scent, the kind that lingers in the air. Open an Italian pantry and before you see it, you smell it. The ghost of rosemary, oregano, and thyme hanging in the air like memory. These aren't just seasonings, they're time travelers. Long before refrigeration, Italians learned to trap summer's essence by drying their herbs in the shade away from light and moisture. The method was ancient and elegant. Air-drying bunches hung upside down in warm attics, where fragrance intensified as water fled. What remained was the soul of the herb, light, brittle, eternal. Without moisture, bacteria could not grow, and flavor only deepened with age. For centuries, dried herbs turned the simplest meals into poetry. Peasant soups, humble breads, even olive oil came alive with a pinch of basil or crushed bay leaf. Today, these same jars line modern kitchens, proof that preservation and passion still share the same root. Soon, we leave the scent of the land behind and follow the call of the sea, where Italy's next treasure waits, sealed in salt and steel. A hiss of tin, a flash of silver, and suddenly the scent of the sea fills the room. Canned fish, tonno, scombro, sardine, has been Italy's oceanic secret for over a century. In coastal towns like Genoa and Sicily, where fishermen once faced unpredictable tides, preserving the catch was a matter of survival. Every haul of tuna or mackerel was a race against time, to cook, pack, and seal before the sun claimed it. The secret to its endurance is twofold: heat and oil. Once fish is cooked and sealed in olive oil inside airtight tins, oxygen, the destroyer of freshness, is banished. The oil becomes both shield and sustenance, protecting flavor while deepening it. Decades may pass, yet the richness only grows. During wars and hard winters, canned fish filled Italian plates when the sea was unreachable. Today, it's not survival. It's a delicacy. Italians fold it into salads, toss it with pasta, or enjoy it straight from the tin with a wedge of lemon. Each bite carries the memory of waves, salt, and sunlight. The sea, however, holds another secret, one smaller, bolder, and saltier than all the rest. Tiny, shimmering, intense. The anchovy is proof that the smallest things often have the strongest souls. In Italy, this humble fish became a legend, not for its size, but for its immortality. For centuries, fishermen along the Amalfi Coast and in Liguria have layered anchovies in salt, pressing them into wooden barrels to rest through the seasons. When the lid is finally opened, time itself has changed them. The preservation secret is pure chemistry. Salt draws out moisture, halting decay, and transforming flesh into something deeper, more complex. Anchovies lose their fragility, but gain a flavor so powerful it can awaken entire dishes. Romans once prized them in their ancient fish sauce, garum, while modern Italians stir them into sauces, pizzas, and pastas. They are the invisible foundation of flavor, the quiet whisper that makes food come alive. Anchovies endure not just in salt, but in spirit, a symbol of transformation, of turning perishability into permanence. From the depths of the sea to the warmth of the kitchen, they remind us that preservation is poetry in disguise. And somewhere inland, beneath the same Italian sun, another kind of preservation takes place, one born not from the sea, but from the heat of the earth. Imagine the Mediterranean sun, relentless and golden, beating down on rows of ripe red tomatoes split open like jewels. In southern Italy, in Puglia, Calabria, and Sicily, this is where the art of sundrying began. Long before refrigeration, families laid their harvest on wooden racks, sprinkling them with salt, letting the sun do what fire could not, draw out the water, and leave behind pure, concentrated life. The science is as beautiful as the sight. With every hour under the sun, moisture evaporates, but flavor intensifies. Sweetness deepens, acidity softens, and the tomato transforms into something eternal. Once dried, they're packed in olive oil, garlic, and herbs, creating an edible time capsule of summer. Through famines and wars, sun-dried tomatoes were a farmer's insurance, a way to savor the harvest even when the fields lay bare. Today, they're a gourmet indulgence, gracing bruschetta, salads, and sauces with their sun-soaked tang. Every bite is a taste of nostalgia, a memory of August preserved in amber. From the parched fields of the south, the journey now winds towards something briny, sharp, and green. A food so small, yet so storied, it once stood as currency along the coast. Before bread, before wine, there were olives, the fruit of patience and time. In the rolling hills of Italy, gnarled trees twist toward the sun, their silvery leaves whispering stories older than Rome itself. Each olive begins bitter, inedible, until transformed by the magic of preservation, an alchemy Italians have perfected for millennia. In clay jars or wooden barrels, olives are submerged in salt brine or oil, where they shed their bitterness and awaken their flavor. It's not quick work, weeks, sometimes months, but it's timeless. The salt purifies, the oil seals, and together they grant immortality. Even the simplest pantry can hold a bowl of olives that lasts longer than a season's harvest. During ancient times, they were a gift for gods and travelers alike. Nourishment, trade, and peace symbolized in every bite. Today, no Italian table feels complete without them. Their flavor, briny, earthy, alive, carries the warmth of both land and sea. From their ancient groves, we follow the salty trail along rocky cliffs, where another small marvel hides among thorns. A treasure once mistaken for a weed, yet coveted by kings. Bloom unseen on rugged coastal cliffs, tiny buds of survival clinging to stone. Capers are Italy's wild secret, the flavor of resilience captured in salt and vinegar. For centuries, islanders of Pantelleria and Sicily gathered them by hand before dawn, when the blossoms were still closed tight. Each one was a promise, delicate, short-lived, and destined for preservation. The secret lies in fermentation. Fresh capers are too harsh to eat. They're soaked and cured in sea salt, where enzymes awaken and bitterness fades. Days pass, then weeks. Slowly, they transform into something bold, tangy, floral, and eternal. Salt locks in their essence, protecting them from time itself. To Italians, capers are not garnish, they're punctuation. A single one can change the story of a dish. They bring brightness to pasta alla puttanesca, depth to fish, and memory to every bite. Once a peasant's preserve, now a chef's treasure, the caper endures as a symbol of Italy's gift for turning scarcity into splendor. As the last crystal of salt falls away, the story turns inward, to kitchens, to hearths, to something humble, yet profoundly. No food tells the story of Italian ingenuity quite like pangrattato. The breadcrumb. Born from poverty, it became a masterpiece of waste turned wonder. In every Italian home, nothing is discarded, not even yesterday's loaf. Bread, once the symbol of life, is reborn in the pan, dried, grated, and transformed into golden dust that never dies. The secret of its endurance is simplicity itself. When moisture leaves, bread becomes eternal. Dried and sealed, it resists decay, waiting patiently to add crunch, flavor, and soul to the next meal. Italians call it the poor man's cheese, a garnish of gratitude born in times when Parmesan was too costly to afford. Toasting it in olive oil with garlic and herbs turns it from sustenance into poetry. A smoky, fragrant reminder that creativity thrives in hardship. From Sicily to Naples, pangrattato crowns pasta, vegetables, even fish, adding life where there was once little. And so, from the humblest crumb, Italy proves again that nothing, not even time, can dull its flavor. Ahead, our path leads into the woods, where another ancient treasure lies, waiting, hidden in the shadows of oak and pine. Damp forests of northern Italy, a treasure hides beneath fallen leaves, the porcini mushroom. For centuries, foragers have searched for them at dawn, guided by instinct and scent, knowing that nature's richest flavors grow where sunlight barely touches the earth. Fresh, they are fleeting. Dried, they become eternal. To preserve their magic, Italians slice and spread them beneath open skies, letting mountain air and sunlight draw out every drop of moisture. The result? Paper-thin petals of pure umami, their aroma deep and woodsy. When stored properly, they can last for years, a forest trapped in time, waiting to awaken in warm water and bring its earthy perfume back to life. During long winters, dried porcini were more than food, they were comfort. A handful in a pot could transform a humble broth into a feast, turning scarcity into luxury. Today, chefs around the world treat them like gold, yet for Italians, they remain a whisper of home. The forest fades behind us, but its spirit lingers, leading us toward another staple, white as snow, that built the backbone of Italian survival. It begins with a cloud, soft, white, and ancient. A flour, the foundation of Italian life, is both dust and destiny. From the wheat fields of Puglia to the stone mills of the north, Italians have turned grains into sustenance since the dawn of civilization. It is the quiet heart behind bread, pasta, and pastry, the essence of every meal that matters. The secret to its longevity is simplicity, pure grain, milled and kept dry. Without moisture, flour sleeps, timeless, waiting for the touch of water to bring it back to life. Stored in cool, sealed containers, it can endure years untouched, ready to rise again as dough, crust, or comfort. In ancient times, sacks of flour were more valuable than gold. During wars, they meant survival, traded and guarded like treasure. Even today, every Italian pantry keeps it close, not just for necessity, but for ritual. To bake bread is to honor those who came before, yet no flour stands alone. Every recipe begins with a spark, a scent that defines the kitchen itself, sharp, bold, and unmistakable. It starts with a crack, the sound of a clove breaking free from its papery shell. Garlic is Italy's heartbeat, the first thing to touch the pan, the last to leave the memory. For centuries, it's been both food and medicine, hung in doorways to ward off illness, braided in kitchens to bless the home. Garlic's secret lies in its armor. Each clove is wrapped in natural paper, shielding it from moisture and light. Stored in a cool, dry place, it resists decay for months, sometimes years. No preservatives, no trickery, just nature's own design for endurance. When it meets heat, it transforms, raw and fiery one moment, golden and sweet the next. A single bulb can flavor a village's worth of meals. It binds sauces, perfumes stews, and breathes life into olive oil and bread. In every Italian kitchen, garlic is more than an ingredient. It's a signature, a promise that something extraordinary is about to happen. As its aroma fades, our journey turns toward glass jars and vibrant color, where basil, oil, and cheese blend into a green masterpiece that never fades with time. Twisting open, a rush of basil, garlic, and oil floods the air. Summer captured in glass. Pesto, born in Genoa's sunlit hills, was once made by hand in marble mortars, each stroke of the pestle releasing the scent of fresh basil picked at dawn. It was never meant to be fleeting. Italians found a way to make it last beyond the season's end. The secret lies in its armor of olive oil. When basil, garlic, pine nuts, and cheese are sealed beneath that liquid gold, oxygen can't touch them. The oil forms a barrier against time itself, preserving color, flavor, and vitality. The result is a sauce that defies the calendar, ready to revive a plate of pasta even in the heart of winter. In every Italian pantry, a jar of pesto is both memory and promise. A memory of Ligurian coasts and the scent of salt air, a promise that even when the basil fields sleep, green will return to the table. The jar closes softly, but not the story. Our next treasure hides in another bottle, aged and bold, whispering warmth through every drop, gleams in the dim light of an Italian kitchen, half used yet eternal. Cooking wine, whether red or white, has flavored Italian dishes for centuries, not merely as a drink, but as a preservation of spirit itself. In ancient Rome, soldiers and merchants alike carried wine as both sustenance and sanitizer, a shield against spoiled water and hunger. Its preservation secret is its nature, alcohol. With its high acidity and ethanol content, wine resists decay, holding its character long after being opened. Once heat meets liquid, the alcohol burns away, but the flavor lingers, deep, aromatic, alive. Italians use it not to mask a dish, but to reveal it, unlocking the sweetness of tomatoes, the tenderness of meat, the soul of sauce. Aged bottles can survive decades. Even the simplest table wine endures if sealed from air and light. It's more than an ingredient. It's an inheritance, a link between generations who cooked with heart and patience. As the scent of simmering wine fades from the pot, a different sharpness takes its place, one bright, clean, and eternal as sunlight itself. Drop hits the tongue, sharp, pure, alive. Bottled lemon juice may seem modern, but its soul is ancient. On the Amalfi Coast, where lemons grow like gold against cliffs of blue, Italians have used their juice for centuries to preserve freshness, fight decay, and brighten flavor when the world felt heavy. Long before refrigeration, sailors carried it to ward off scurvy on long voyages, learning that acidity could preserve not just food, but life. The preservation secret is chemistry, citric acid. It halts bacteria, slows oxidation, and locks in the brilliance of lemon long after the fruit has fallen from the tree. Sealed in glass, it becomes a liquid sunlight, immune to time. In modern kitchens, bottled lemon juice remains a silent hero. It rescues sauces, preserves produce, and gives life to old flavors. A few drops can awaken an entire meal. It is the taste of purity, of eternal summer. And beyond that bright tang, another treasure waits. Not liquid, not fruit, but solid gold, carved from gold rests in the cool silence of a cellar, vast, round, and breathing faintly through its rind. Parmigiano-Reggiano is not just cheese, it's a monument to time. In the heart of Emilia-Romagna, artisans have followed the same ritual for over 900 years. Fresh milk at dawn, copper vats, and hands guided by memory rather than measurement. The result is something almost immortal. Its secret lies in patience. After forming, each wheel is bathed in salt and left to age for at least 12 months, often 3, sometimes 5. As it rests, moisture flees, flavor concentrates, and crystals form within, crackling like tiny sparks of eternity. Low humidity and natural salt preserve it without need for additives. Aged to perfection, it becomes hard, dry, and nearly incorruptible, capable of lasting decades if stored properly. During times of scarcity, Parmigiano wasn't merely food, it was wealth. Wheels were traded, hoarded, even used as collateral. Its flavor, nutty, savory, endlessly complex, became the very taste of endurance. Grated over pasta or shaved onto risotto, it transforms simple meals into legacy. Every flake carries history, a whisper from monks, farmers, and mothers who trusted time more than chance. Across centuries and seasons, these 20 timeless foods have guarded Italy's spirit, proof that preservation is not just survival, but art. Each jar, bottle, and grain carries the echo of generations who refuse to let flavor die. In a world that moves too fast, these ingredients remind us that patience still nourishes, simplicity still lasts, and history still tastes alive. From the sun to the sea, from the earth to the cellar, Italy's pantry endures, a living museum of resilience and beauty. Because here, food isn't merely eaten, it's remembered, revered, and reborn forever.